Good evening. Good evening. Still sick. This is Nikki Dej with Talks from the Dash. Now, I'm leaving work way too late recently. We gotta fix that. Alright. So I just want you to remember, if you're not already aware, that I'm doing an experiment. I'm doing an experiment to see how this channel grows without asking friends and family to subscribe. So if you would please subscribe. This channel is going to be talking about random things. Every day is going to be different, and it's going to be on my way to and from work. Right now I'm going to CVS, but just so you are aware. So please like, subscribe, share. Again, I'm just doing an experiment to see how things go without me trying to, push it through my own network or community, or like through my Facebook page or my other channels, because I do have a few. I have another channel for hair, and then I have another channel for health, because I work in healthcare. So yes. Anyways, what I wanted to talk with you about earlier is like your younger self. I'm curious, would you have a conversation with your younger self? Would you actually like your younger self? Would you like your younger self? It got really windy, all of a sudden. I'm not sure what that's about. But anyways, would you like your younger self? So, me personally, and I want you to share it with me. So I have two questions. Would you like your younger self? Would you like your younger self? And would you, what would you tell your younger self? So a lot of times people have heard that as far as what advice would you give your younger self, but I also want to know, would you actually like your younger self or spend time with your younger self? So, and I mean yourself at any stage of your life. Maybe it's your 20s or your teens or your 30s, whatever. So I am going to talk about my teens specifically. And so I was the type of teenager that I didn't want to follow the crowd. So I was known at school, but I wasn't trying to do what everybody else was doing. So I am from the age of Manolos. Anybody out there remember the Manolos? So I didn't buy Manolos. I didn't want Manolos. I didn't want the Jordans. I didn't want everything everybody else had. I didn't want to be following the crowd. Now, I didn't dress I wasn't gothic or hippie or preppy. I was very much a girly girl in dressing. I wore a lot of heels, especially in my junior year. But I also wore a lot of Tims. I had every color Tim there was. So, okay, hold on. All right, thanks for your patience. So I wore a lot of heels, wore Tims, had every color Tim. But again, I wasn't trying to go along with the crowd. So I would buy my shoes from Aldo and Nine West, and there's another shoe store, Baker's. And so but I was also not, I didn't put, I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't my personal clothing. I didn't make that. I wasn't obsessed with materials, so I wasn't materialistic in the sense that, you know, if my clothes got messed up, I was angry. Like if somebody stepped on my shoe and messed my shoe up, it was just like, okay, you know, no big deal. I'm not gonna stress myself out over it. I'm not gonna get mad at the person. I'm not gonna be like, oh, these are such and such hundreds of dollars shoes, and how could you watch where you're going, you retard, or anything like that. I was not that type of person. And I think that has a lot to do with my own background, because when I was in elementary school, I was picked on as a child. We actually could not afford name brand clothes, and because of that, we got picked on a lot. I wore a lot of hand-me-downs, and yeah, so when I got older and we were able to afford nicer clothes and name brand clothes, and then people wanted to hang out with me, then I, like any of the new kids, any of the kids that were being picked on, like I would actually bring them into like my circle or whatever you want to call it. Like I would talk with them from the jump, because I didn't want them to experience what I experienced, like being the new kid and being picked on, or just not having what others had and being picked on for that, or just in general. So I would actually take them under my wing, not to like teach them, but because I had gained this level of popularity, and I didn't want them to experience what I had experienced. I knew that if I took them under my wing, then they wouldn't get picked on because they're hanging with me. And that was the case. They didn't get picked on. It didn't matter, again, what they wore, whatever the issue was, they did not get picked on. And so the question is, would I like hang out with my younger self? And I would. Much of the things that I'm telling you now, I'm still that way. Granted, grown adults aren't like, I mean, you do have some childish adults that like pick on coworkers or whatever. Anyways, that's a whole another story. But I'm pretty much the same way. If something happens to my clothes or to my vehicle, like somebody hit the car got in a fender bender not too long ago, and I didn't like freak out about it, you know, nobody got hurt, everything would be okay, and everything would get fixed, you know. I'm not gonna stress myself out about it. But yeah, so I would hang out with my younger self. I would talk with my younger self, and yeah, I would like my younger self. Now, as far as what I would share with my younger self, there are quite a few things I would share with my younger self that I felt like I was not taught. I would teach my younger self about like credit, financial education, like not having credit, not having a debt, okay, not feeling the need to use a credit card. And that'll be a discussion for another day, like in detail. But I would tell my younger self, no, don't do credit cards. If you ain't got the cash, then don't buy it. And don't get yourself into debt to do scholarships for college. Don't do student loans, you know, do grants, things of that sort. So you're not spending the rest of your life trying to get out of debt when it's so easy to get into debt. And so that's what I teach my own kids now. They don't have any debt. One of my children is out the house. He has no debt. Okay. Initially, before I started learning more about finances, I had put him on my credit card so he could build credit. And then I did that with my second son as well. And then I started to learn more about finances and like just not being in debt. You want to be able to use your money. So I ended up paying off that credit card. that both my children were on, and telling them, no, you're not getting credit cards. So if you don't have it to buy, then you don't buy it. You don't buy it. And I know that's easier for some people than it is for others, but this is how I'm teaching my children. And I will say that my parents did tell me not to do credit cards, but they didn't drive that home. There was not a lot of financial talks. My father told me that, make sure I had good credit, and my mom would tell us not to get credit cards. So I remember getting my first credit card at like 18 or 19, and I cut it up. I was like, nope, my mom said don't do credit cards, and I cut it up right there in the room. I never used it. As soon as it came in the mail, I just cut it up. But since that time, I had gotten credit cards and loans and X, Y, and Z, and now I can teach my children, or have been teaching my children, a better way. So some other things that I would tell my younger self, like, health is important. Like, what you do now affects your health later. Because I've always been a thin person, and I've always ate whatever I wanted to eat. But I became pre-diabetic, and my cholesterol was through the roof. It was like, and I was like super shocked about it. And so, even though I was younger, and again I was thin, and I tell my kids that now, like, what we do today affects our tomorrow. So I'll definitely tell myself that. I would tell myself, start your own business. You don't have to work for somebody else. Now, if you want to work for somebody else, because like having your own business can be stressful, okay, but there are other options than going to college and just going through that route, that path. You can get a trade and then have your own business. You can just start your own business in general. And so just letting my children know, well, not my children, but letting my younger self know that there are other options out there. And just fun fact, I actually did go this route in a way. Actually registered to start school at the NASCAR institution in Charlotte, and I was going to be doing that at the college, but that did not work out. Some other things came up in place, so that did not happen, but that was the plan, and I had already got accepted and everything. And so I was going to be the woman with heels on, working on cars. And I actually am a tomboy, so I might dress like very girly, but I still climb trees, I still jump fences, I still like to be on dirt bikes and four-wheelers, and I like to get dirty. Okay, sorry about that. I had to cough. Thank you for your patience. So I will say one of the things I did not like about my younger self, that I would have been like, hey, you need to straighten up, was that I was very much, and I still am this way, but I'm more tactful and I'm not as impulsive. But my younger self was the type of person that's like, I don't need you. And I feel that way now. Like, I don't want anybody to ever think that I need them. So like my employer, my my spouse, my family, I don't want you to think that I need you. I'm a firm believer that I can only truly depend on the Lord completely. Now, I appreciate the people that are there, but I don't want you to hold over my head that, hey, you need me. Like, oh, well, if you don't do this, then I'm going to leave. Or if you don't do this, then I'm going to fire you. Okay, I have morals, and if what you're asking me to do doesn't sit right with me, or if it's going to be, if it's just not right, I'm not going to do it just because you give me a paycheck. I'll be fine. And I have quit a lot of jobs, and I have actually not necessarily quit. I have lost, well, I lost one job. Because I wouldn't cave. I would not put my foot down. Nope, not doing it. And they let me go, and I was like, praise God. But you're not going to pressure me into doing anything. God will take care of me. So, but when I was younger, I would just be out like deuces. I wouldn't think twice about it or whatever. I would just be like, oh, because at this time in my life, my mom, both my parents, they had really good jobs by this time, and I just be like, oh, my mom will pay for it. My mom will pay my rent. My mom will pay my my bills or whatever. I don't need you or whatever. So at that time, I wasn't depending on the Lord. I was depending on my family, my parents. But I still have the same mentality, but just with depending on the Lord. Like, okay, it all work out. And so, but I'm a little bit more tactful with it. I'm not trying to be rude, because in the past I could be rude when I said it, when I would like do certain things. So now I'm not rude about it. I'm a little bit more tactful, where, okay, you want me to do something that I should not be doing. Like, let's say it's work. You want me to do something that I don't feel comfortable doing. Then we're gonna have a discussion about it, and I'm going to nicely and tactfully help you see my perspective, and and also provide another solution. So anyways, this has gone over too long, so I will close here tonight. I appreciate your time and, again, your patience with me. Have a good evening.